Hey guys, Game Guide here, and I have another Shogun 2 Total War 2v2 cast. So this one was submitted by GamerJames926 and Flight of Icarus. If I refer to Flight of Icarus as Thornton, then that is because that's how I know him. I talked to both these guys, they're both my friends through Steam and other such things, and if I refer to Flight of Icarus as Thornton, then I do apologize, but that is just kind of how I know him. Anyway, this is on Jigokudani Valley, which is a map that I actually rarely get for some reason. I never really see it in regular match made, and I just don't pick it on battle lists, so I don't know too much about this map. All I know is there is quite advantageous ground up over on this hill, and there are ridges all along the map that, quite frankly, it can cause a lot of problems with line build, but these guys do pull it off quite well. Alright. So James is over on the right over here, and the majority of the battle does take part on his side, although Thornton does see some very fun back and forth shooting between his line and his opponents. But let's take a look at James's army here first. His main line force is composed of Black Bear infantry, and then he has a Vermilion Bird force in the center, which is a very smart choice because Vermilion Bird force have an aura that give the men surrounding them extra morale and such, so that's very good. Back over here, he has two sets of spear levy. He has his general, Eryoku. There he is. And he also has some cavalry. James brought two sets of Yarikai and a set of Imperial Guard cavalry. Now, Imperial Guard cavalry, in case you guys don't know, is shooter cavalry. Now, Thornton brought a lot more cavalry. He brought a lot of Yarikai, and it looks like 4 sets of Yarikai. He has dismounted one of them to take the archery dojo, and then his main line is composed of Black Bear infantry, and he has quite a few of those guys. He has a set of spear levy, and James also sent another Yarikai over to assist Thornton. So that's how that was working so far. Over here, James is going to try to get some nice shots of his Imperial Guard cavalry. Unfortunately, like I said, this terrain really does work to the advantage of his opponent because he's unable to get some good shots, so the ridge is going to completely cover them, and these guys don't even fire. So very nice move by James's opponent over here, although the same is true for him. He cannot fire back as well, so James is going to retreat back behind his ridge, and as you can see, there is no line of sight here, so they can't see each other at all. I also should mention the main two buildings here. There's a farmhouse and a workshop. Personally, I think the workshop is better because of the armor increase, and that helps you sustain more bullets, but the farmhouse is helpful because the stamina after a long period of shooting definitely is a big factor. James over here charged in his Yarikai straight into this opening unit of Black Bears, and honestly, I think that should have been way more effective. He actually only got about 40 guys with that charge, which is really surprising. You'd expect way more from a charge at a completely unprepared unit, downhill too, which, I don't know, that seems really surprising to me, but I guess that's just how it went. Now he's going to recharge this Yarikai straight into them, and again, he's just not going to do much damage, and this Yarikai will rout from fire from back over here. The only problem with what his opponent is doing right now, though, is he's shooting into the back of his own troops, which is causing some morale effects. Although, at this point in the fight, with so few men dead, it's really not going to cause much of a problem. So, not necessarily a horrible move, but there goes the Yarikai, and now he has no cavalry contingent other than this Imperial Guard cavalry on his flank. Alright, so their opponents brought a pretty interesting army, I think. There were parrot guns back over here, and James, as you can see, has brought a Yarikai around. He did mismicro them a little bit, and they stopped, but they are going to go for the parrot guns. Unfortunately, James's opponent is smart enough to turn this Tosa rifle unit. He's going to shoot right into them, and as you can see, these guys are getting pummeled. They're actually going to rout as soon as they touch, practically, which is not going to cause these parrot guns to rout. So, a bit of a failed charge there, but it happens, and micro lapses always happen in each battle, no matter how much we practice, but still, the parrot guns are hurt, and they're going to have to re-limber, but not a big deal for James's opponent, unfortunately. Alright, so over here, Thornton's opponent pulled out a bunch of Yarikai, and as you can see, this force actually is about the same size as Thornton's force. He has 4 sets of Yarikai, and he also has a White Tiger force out over here to assist. So what he's going to do is he's going to charge this Yarikai straight at Thornton's men, and now Thornton does a very interesting move here. He's going to actually surround them, which was a brilliant maneuver, and he's also going to turn this black bear to start shooting into this blob, which, if there's your own troops in there, it's not generally a good idea, but in a head-on fight like this, Thornton's troops will lose, so it's a very smart idea. As you can see, he's reshifting, and also his general is firing in here, so Thornton's showing some very good micro early on in this battle. It's causing a lot of damage, and this white bear back over here, because white bear's morale is so crap, they're not a very good supporting unit, other than with your main body. Right now their morale is really crappy because of all the routing cavalry over here, and I do believe they just route in succession with the cavalry, but still, I guess it was a valiant effort. But James is going to charge in his Yarikai and it's going to insta-route these White Tiger Force, and also all of the enemy cavalry is gone. And Thornton actually kept those 2 units of cavalry that he charged in before. So that was a very, very good change for Thornton. Very good exchange. And now James is running his Yarikai back around, and he's going to go right for the enemy general, it looks like. All along the line, Thornton's opponent's troops are wavering, but at the same time, they are getting a lot of casualties on Thornton's troops. So, Icarus is going to start running up the spear levy. I know I'm switching between Icarus and Thornton a lot. I'm sorry for that. It's just force of habit. But anyway. Some good shooting going back and forth over here. James also positioned some troops to help out Thornton over on his side, which is very good use of teamwork. And James is now starting the fire back and forth between each of their armies. So that's very good. Alright, so at this point Thornton's opponent has basically lost, and he's going to retreat the remainder of his men out over to his allies, who still has pretty much the majority of their force. However, Thornton has the majority of his force as well, which does not bode well for James's opponent over here. So, let's speed this up a little bit, see where we can get to. Yep, I didn't speed it up. Can't seem to speed it up. It's weird. Alright, well, whatever. I don't know why it's not letting me speed it up, but nonetheless, James's opponent does have some very nice ground here, as this nice hill. He is set up in this kind of a defensive formation, and at this point I can kind of understand the camping, because if he just takes on a head-on fight, he will lose very quickly. So I understand that he is taking this defensive route, but at the same time, it is a show of weakness, definitely. Alright, so James is going to get a beautiful rear charge of his Yarikai, and I believe he is going to cause, if not rout, this unit, because White Bears, they do not have the best morale. Thornton's troops are also closing in quickly with his spear levy. He's going to catch all this big glob of units, and that is not going to bode well for Thornton's pretty much defeated opponent.
Damn lily-livered cowards! Your men are running, sir.
Alright. So the remainder of this fight, I'm just going to call this guy Bofi, because as you can see, K-U Bofi. The only reason I didn't start calling these guys by name in the beginning was their names, I just didn't know how to say it. So, there you go. I'm just going to call this guy Bofi from now on, and I'll call this guy over here Free, because now we're starting to get to the part where they're going to start basically combining their forces. So, as you can see, Free is moving up to Bofi's Hill, and hopefully they can hold their ground against basically James and Thornton's advance of superior troops, superior numbers. It's not looking too good for their opponents right now. And as you can see, Icarus is taking some beautiful shots in the back here, and I don't know, yeah, these guys don't rout, but they definitely took some casualties over here. As you can see, there's a huge pile of dead guys over here. So, very nice move by Thornton, ranging them just in time to get that nice quick volley and killed a lot of them, so very nice move there. At this point, Bofi is going to start repositioning on the hill to face both oncoming threats, which is obviously important under any circumstance. Alright. So Free actually is going to line up to the right of Bofi's line, which is an interesting choice. And Thornton feels pretty confident here, so he's going to just move up. I believe that he's going to just let Free get the first volley, and yes, he does. But Thornton does the smart thing. He's going to actually have 2 units able to fire on one while the other guys can't fire. So very nice move. And now Thornton's troops are getting the upper hand, and just because of all the troops that Free has lost, his morale is really suffering, and he's going to rout here pretty quick. There's also the fact that he is using White Bear infantry, which is in no way superior to Black Bear infantry. So that is another reason why Free over here is having such a hard time. And at this point, Bofi is moving up some units to try to support, but he doesn't want to run into a line of fire, because that will just mark his doom. There's no way he can win if he marches into a line of fire with his Kietai. And this is a unit I don't believe I've shown you guys. Here they are, the Kietai. There's some pretty interesting units. I actually like the Kietai quite a bit. They are a little bit overpriced in my opinion, but other than that, they are a very effective unit if used properly. And just like any other hero or marine unit, they offer those morale bonuses to the troops they are around, so very very effective to have near your line. So the opening skirmish has begun, and right now what is going on is he's just having one unit shoot at James's line, which is not really recommended. I don't know why he decided to do this, maybe just because of the height advantage. He also has his Tosa rifles firing from far back, which is very smart. Because of the superior range, you want to take advantage of that, which is exactly what Bofi is doing right now. James is getting shot up quite a bit by this. Over here, Icarus is charging into Free, and his general is going to take a nice volley in their backs, and I believe he's going to get another volley before charging. So he actually does stop his general right here. This is pretty risky. I personally would not have done this, because if you actually issue an attack order, they could have turned around and completely destroyed Thornton's general over here, but Thornton is going to get some side shots on these Kietai, and they're going to start running back. Personally, I would have had these guys turn and immediately fire on Thornton's general, which actually looks like that's what's going on right here. See if they get some shots. Yeah, they do. They're going to drop, like, as you can see, the general will die really quick. He's already down to 18 men, 17, and I mean, you definitely die really quick, down to 12. So if these guys had done it sooner, man, the general would have been completely destroyed really quickly. But as you can see, Bofi is in a really bad situation, because he is just going to start getting engulfed in this V-shaped formation, and although he has a hill, there's no way he'll be able to combat all of these troops. Like, there's so many troops against Bofi right now, it's kind of ridiculous. So, like, as you can see, just from flat out what is going on right now, there's no real way he can pull out the victory with this many troops surrounding him. James also does have his Imperial Guard cavalry still, which is a very powerful unit. It really is, and I do think it should cost a bit more, just because the Shogunate Guard cavalry is so much worse, in my opinion. I've never seen it been able to do anything against the Imperial Guard cavalry. If one of you guys has something that can prove me wrong, please send me that replay, because I'd love to see that. But yeah, if you guys could show me the effects of units that maybe are not so traditional or not so often used, then I'd be very happy to see it. And I'm sure a lot of people would too. So please send me those replays. I'd really love to see what some interesting tactics you guys can use with some not so reliable units, at least in my opinion, not so reliable. So Thornton actually started this firefight over here, and he is taking some shots over on this Black Bear infantry. Now, the high ground does favor his opponent, though, and that's the huge problem. Although only a portion of his opponent's men are firing, which is a real problem. What he needs to do is turn these guys so all the line will fire, because right now he's getting shredded, because Thornton's whole line can fire. At the same time, the bullets that miss are just going straight into a spear levy, too. But Bofi is going to move a Kietai to support. And look at this. James actually moved this Imperial Guard cavalry straight up next to these Tosa rifles and opened a volley. Killed quite a few, and he's still dropping them. As you can see, these guys are getting mowed down. Imperial Guard cavalry is quite a fun unit. They're probably my favorite cav unit in the game. And here comes the spear levy. But as I always say, spear levy cannot catch cavalry. It's just that simple, at least as long as the cavalry is microed. Let's see if James was able to micro his cavalry away. I haven't seen this part. I just watched the opening parts. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, like, this spear levy just lost a lot of men. And for what? The cavalry is just going to run away. And what can they do about it? Absolutely nothing. So, I don't know. I always just completely advise against using spear levy to try to run for cavalry. Always just keep it by your line. It's to negate cavalry charges, not to chase cavalry around the map. Don't pull an AI in campaign where you chase cavalry around the map all game. And although it usually works when the AI does it because they're so damn persistent, still, that is not a reason to use that tactic. Now, here, Bofi actually does something interesting that I really didn't expect him to do. He's going to actually charge his spear levy right for Thornton's troops. Personally, I really think he should have just kept it with his army, because, I don't know, it feels like a useless charge, because as soon as these guys rout, the morale of all these other men up here will instantly rout, so it's going to drop, and they really don't have any hope. Now, James is running right for the enemy general, and I don't even think that the Imperial Guard cavalry need to charge. Whether or not, they're just going to shoot the general down. Let's watch this. Some point-blank shooting from the Imperial Guard cavalry. Oh, brutal. Wow, that general lived through a lot. I even saw some bullets hit him. He does have a pretty nice outfit, dressed in his regal purple outfit. But he is going to rout now, so he is no longer as regal, I guess. Huge problem here with spear levy is that usually they will not make it to your line, but in this case I guess they feel confident because of the mere fact that there's enemies, their enemies are getting shot in the back, they have way more men than their opponents, so like I guess that makes it somewhat even. But yeah, as you can see, like these guys are still going to rout, and I believe these guys are even going to rout on contact, so that's why I don't use spear levy. I really don't understand why you use spear levy if they're just gonna rout at at this stage where your army is completely winning. I don't get that. Doesn't really make too much sense to me. But I guess it's all with personal preference. Every unit in this game is generally personal preference, except for a few occasions where you do just kind of like some units are a little bit overpowered in some circumstances or something like that. In my personal opinion, I find Imperial Guard Cav a little overpowered for the price. Now, if they had raised the price, then that would make it completely balanced, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think on Imperial Guard Cavalry? That is the end of the game. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm sure James is happy I put this up after such a long time. See ya.